Can you talk to me a little bit about what is synthetic alcohol and how do you see it, getting the attention and the adoption in a society?
Yeah, I'll give you a bit of background. So, I mean, I've been thinking about alcohol and the brain ever since my very first day in medical school.
Oh, is it?
Very first day, the very first evening in medical school. I'm an undergraduate. I'm at Cambridge in my college, down in college. There are 9 medical students in the intake.
Hmm.
And that night, what do? You go out to meet your friend. You make friends. You go to the pub. And I was horrified by how much some of them drank because I couldn't drink that much. And how did they learn to drink that much? They shouldn't even be drinking at all. They're only just 18. And then we went back to the room and they carried on drinking wine. And one of them had an amazing explosion. He went from being a normal kid to someone who was wailing and crying and wanting to go home and wanting his mother. And I thought he was going to commit suicide. I thought this man's having an acute depressive reaction. Should we call an ambulance? And one of his friends said, I know him. They went to the same school. He said, I know him. It'll be all right in the morning. And it was. He had a hangover. I remember thinking, wow, this is staggering. This drug, which everyone uses, can turn a man who ends up, he's now a professor of medicine. I won't tell you what discipline because you might identify him, but he's a professor in a medical specialty. And wow, it can change. In fact, the sad thing was it the friend who told me he's always like that. He had a heavy drinking and he was I didn't realize at the time, but he was drinking because of anxiety and he died in his 30s. So, you've got a really talented kid going to one of the top universities in the world to do medicine who dies of alcoholism in his 30s. And his friend actually had some problems with the GMC because of his drinking. So 2 of the 9 people that I followed were there have had problems. So I've been interested in alcohol all my life because I've seen those problems. And pretty much every doctor, every day meets a patient who's been harmed by alcohol. And my research started off trying to actually help people have get off alcohol, less withdrawal symptoms. And then I started working on treatments to stop people craving and relapsing. And then about 20 years ago, when I was in favor with the government, I was working on a program called the Foresight Program, where you look forward 25 years and you say, how might science change the field of drug use and alcohol use in 25 years? And looking back, I realized the first 25 years, we hadn't achieved very much. And it came to me one day, well, actually, alcohol is such a complicated and promiscuous drug that actually finding antidotes to all its effects was impossible. And the light bulb, wow, maybe we replace it. And then because by that time, we were beginning to understand what alcohol did in the brain. So synthetic alcohol is a molecule, or a series of molecules we're developing to give people what most people want from alcohol. Most people want a bit of relaxation. They want the effect of a small glass of wine or a small beer. They want to just relax socially. Most people don't want to get drunk, and no one wants to get addicted. So we're targeting the brain mechanisms of that first drink. And that turns out to be through a neurotransmitter called GABA. So we're basically mimicking the effect of alcohol in the GABA system to help people relax and get what they want from alcohol. But by just targeting GABA, we don't target all the multiple other neurotransmitters that alcohol targets to cause problems like addiction, dependence, hangover, brain damage, etc. Now, actually, it's not that difficult to do. We've made several molecules which can mimic the effects of alcohol. The biggest challenge is getting people to fund the research, because once you've got the molecule, you've got to put it through what's called food safety testing, so that you can say it's safe to be as a drink, and that costs a lot of money. So, hopefully, there's someone listening to this podcast who would like to invest, because that's the limiting factor at present: getting funding to take the molecules through food safety testing.